Welcome. Let's go on a journey today. It might seem a little difficult, but believe me, its destination is mental peace and true freedom. Has this ever happened to you? Your pillow is soaked with tears, only because your mind refuses to be quiet. Those nights when your eyes are closed, but your consciousness is racing at 1,000 miles an hour. An old memory, a person, a regret, just keeps spinning and spinning like a broken record. And what is the most painful part? That the moment or that person is no longer even present in our life, but they have made a home in our mind. A tenant who has occupied a corner of our brain and is demanding rent. They are collecting it in the form of our happiness, our peace, and our sleep. All of us, at some point in life, have held on to something very tightly. A relationship, a hope, a mistake. And that grip becomes so strong that, in the end, that very thing starts to break us. So today, we are going to talk about Nick Trenton's book, The Art of Letting Go. And no, this is not your average self-help book that just says, "Bro, forget it and move on." If it were that easy, why would anyone even write this book? This book is like a mirror, a reflection that teaches us how to slowly untie those knots and tangles within ourselves, without breaking ourselves, but by understanding ourselves, and yes, by forgiving ourselves. So, let's see what we find in that mirror. The first and biggest question is, why can't we let go of the past? Do you know the reason? The reason is that the past is not just connected to memories. Our entire identity gets attached to it. The past becomes a prison, and the key to this prison is hidden in forgiveness. But this forgiveness is not just for others. It begins with ourselves. First, we must forgive ourselves. We build our identity from those very sentences. I am the one who was betrayed. I am the one who lost everything. Or I am the one who made that huge mistake. And when this happens, letting go of this pain doesn't just seem difficult, it starts to feel impossible. Why? Because that pain is no longer just a memory. It has become a part of our identity, our Shannock. And how can anyone let go of their own identity? And it is from this identity of the past that a web of thoughts is born. A cycle where our mind, like a broken record, just repeats the same thing 1,000 times. This is a prison whose walls and bars weren't built by anyone from the outside. They were built from the inside by our own thoughts. I wish I hadn't said that. What if? These are the questions that shackle us from within. They slowly, quietly eat away at our energy, like termites eat wood. These questions don't let us live in this moment today. What if they are thinking badly of me? In our attempt to understand everything, we only magnify our own fear. We think that if we think of every worst possible thing in advance, we will be prepared. But the truth is, we are not preparing. We are just increasing our own restlessness and trouble. Am I really good enough? And finally, we start doubting ourselves. These questions are like a whirlpool with no end, and the answer never comes. But just think, what if searching for the answer to these questions is itself the wrong path? What if the real issue is not the question, but the habit of repeatedly asking it? And here, Nick Trenton says something very powerful. He says that overthinking is not thinking. It is self-torture. It is a prison of the mind where you are both the prisoner and the jailer. You are the one punishing yourself every day for things that have long since happened and for things that are not even in your control. So the question is, why does all this happen? Because inside each of us there is a story running. all the time, day and night, awake or asleep. Someone said in childhood, "You are good for nothing." And just that one line became the entire script of our life. We failed once and started telling ourselves, "No, brother, I cannot do this." We ultimately become the story we keep telling ourselves about ourselves. But here is a very, very deep point to understand. Our thoughts are not always true. They are often just an echo, a reverberation of our past experiences. Just imagine. You are standing in an empty room and you shout, "I am useless." What sound will bounce back from the walls? The same, right? But is that sound the truth? No, it is just an echo. In exactly the same way, our negative thoughts are often just echoes of our old wounds. They are not our present reality. And this is Nick Trenton's most powerful message. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who can observe those thoughts. This is not just a line. This is a completely new way of looking at life. Think of thoughts as clouds. They come and they go. You are the sky that always remains there, peaceful and open. And the power is in your hands to let which cloud rain down on you and to let which one simply pass by. So, what is the way out of this web of thoughts? The way is to learn the art of letting go. To understand that when we stop trying to forcibly control things, people, and situations, only then do we find real peace within. Let's look at some practical ways of this art. We often live in the illusion of control. We think if we could just change our partner or please our boss, everything will be fine. We will be safe. But this hunger for control is actually the voice of the fear inside us. It's the exact opposite of the power of acceptance. Acceptance means acknowledging that some things are not in our hands and embracing them as they are. That is wisdom. Remember, control always brings stress, while acceptance leads toward peace. To understand this, let's hear a story about a farmer. There was a farmer who for years tried every possible way to control his crop. Sometimes there was too much rain, sometimes pests attacked. Every time the crop was ruined. He would work harder and get more upset. Finally, one day, exhausted and defeated, he looked up at the sky and said, "I have done everything I could. Now it's up to you." He simply sowed the seeds and stopped worrying. And you know what happened? That same year, he had the best harvest of his life. This story isn't just about a field. It's the story of the field of our mind. So what is the first practice of this surrender? It's non-judgmental observation. This means watching your thoughts and feelings without calling them good or bad, simply as a witness, as an observer. Whenever a negative thought comes to our mind, what is our first reaction? We either suppress it or start fighting it. But if we just watch it without passing any judgment, that thought loses its power. There's a very simple way to do this. Just imagine you are sitting by a peaceful river. Your thoughts are coming one by one like leaves floating down this river. Now, the thing to do is not to catch every leaf, but to simply watch it float by. Give it a name. Ah, this is a thought of fear. This is a thought of anger. And then let it go. When you start separating yourself from your thoughts in this way, you diminish their power. And this awareness is the first step towards peace. Now we come to the most difficult part, relationships. This art of letting go feels the hardest right here. To love and to connect with someone is one of the most beautiful qualities of a human being. But when this attachment becomes a need, When someone else's mood starts controlling your heart, then understand that is not a connection anymore. That is an unhealthy attachment, and that attachment becomes a prison. It is important to always remember this. If a relationship is giving you constant restlessness and pain instead of peace, it is no longer a responsibility, it has become a chain. And we all know how heavy those chains are. So why do we cling to people who repeatedly hurt us? Only on the hope that maybe, one day everything will be all right. And here, Nick Trenton says something important. He says we often cannot let go of the person. We cannot let go of the story, the hope we have attached to that relationship. We are in love with that person's potential, not their reality. We do not want to let go of the dream we saw for that relationship. So, is leaving someone cruel? Nick Trenton is very clear. Leaving someone who is not right for you is not cruelty. It is self-care. It is self-protection. It is a way of telling yourself that you too are deserving of love and respect. A relationship that steals the peace of your soul is not a relationship. It is an emotional captivity. And everyone has the right to be free from this captivity. But one thing must be remembered. Letting go is not a dramatic, one-day decision. It is not a magic button you press and everything becomes fine. No, it is a daily practice. It is a chosen way of life. It is like a plant that needs a little water every day. Only then does it become a strong tree. So let's look at some small steps that can bring about a huge change. First, journaling, which you can also call brain dumping. Pour out all your fears, all your thoughts onto paper. This way, they will not remain imprisoned inside you. Second, gratitude. Write down just 3 things you are grateful for every day. This will shift your brain's focus from the negative to the abundance in your life. Third, mindfulness. When you are eating, just eat. Be in your state. Live in this moment. Fourth, pattern interrupt. Whenever a storm of negative thoughts comes, say stop to yourself and get up and do some physical task, like start walking. And finally, third-person thinking. Ask yourself, if my closest friend were in this situation, what advice would I give them? Believe me, this will give you a very balanced perspective. We all want to fly, but we have carried so much burden of old things and regrets in our minds that our wings cannot even open. Nick Trenton says that when you let something go, you do not lose anything. You find yourself again. You regain that freedom which had been lost for years in the shadows of shame, regret, and overthinking. So today, let's make a promise to ourselves. A promise to lighten ourselves. Forgive and let go of the things that break you from inside every day, the memories that don't let you sleep all night. Because when you shed all this burden, what will be left behind will be just you, the real you. Who is not afraid, who is not stuck in the past, and who, finally, lives fully. If this message has touched your heart and made you think something new, then please share it with your family and friends. Like, subscribe, and help us spread this voice, because there are many people who are fighting with themselves every day, and they need to know they are not alone. Take good care of yourself and keep moving forward.